Welcome, everyone. It is April Fool's Day. Let's get it out of the way. We're not doing anything weird here. Are we good?
We're good.
We're good.
We're good.
Nothing weird.
No.
So don't expect it. It's not going to happen. And Jeremiah is not behind the green screen. He did that to me one time.
No.
Jumped out. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm a little worried.
Yeah, well, yeah, he could. Yeah, he did. Yes. During the middle of the show.
Okay.
And just rando after like 10 minutes. Yeah, I know.
We're good. We're
So
good.
I am forever going to be paranoid about this, that they do weird things to me. But anyway, it is April Fool's. Happy April Fool's Day. We're not going to do anything crazy here because we have a very special guest here in the studio today, and it is Whitney Cruells. And you have lost your mind, but we're happy that you did. And you have actually purchased our local, kind of some of the McDonald's here in our local area. So we're so happy to have you here. And I can't wait to talk with you. You and your husband and kids have actually moved here to the area. And we have so much stuff to talk about today. And then we can whine about, restaurant entrepreneurship in general, if we want to. Mm-hmm. And we could talk about the fun stuff too. Yeah, absolutely. But welcome. And we are going to talk with her in just a moment. But first we have this message, and then we'll get back and talk all things McDonald's. It'll be fun.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
All right, and we are back with our good friend Whitney. And Whitney, you were telling me off the air that how you came to be here in our area was a little bit wild. You had one wild day.
We did. So we had one McDonald's in Vienna, West Virginia, and when we bought the restaurant, it was, when you buy McDonald's, you have to do the inventory overnight, right? Like you close at 10 and you do inventory all night long to make sure you kind of even up with the previous owner.
Sure.
And so we were up all night doing inventory, and then we went back to Marietta where we met with Mr. Brad Munn, the previous owner, who we just love to death.
Yeah.
And did all the paperwork there, and then had to drive back to Wellston because we closed on our house the same day in Wellston. So we drove back to Wellston to close on our house and then to drive back to Marietta. So we were exhausted by the end of the day. It was like, I don't remember almost any of that day at this point.
Yeah, sometimes the day just goes in a flash, and that's fine.
Yeah, it was a blur. The first month was mostly a blur because of all of the changes, but it was wonderful.
For sure. So I just wanted to kind of back up a minute and talk with you about, your family has actually done this for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And then I know that you and your husband did other restaurant stuff. So can you kind of tell us like your background and your family's background in the restaurant business?
Yeah. So my grandparents in the 70s lived in Florida, and they decided they were going to take their life savings and they were going to invest in McDonald's. McDonald's became kind of popular in the 50s, so it was still kind of a newer business, and they thought, okay, we're going to bank on this fast food restaurant. So they were given the choice to move to West Virginia or Indiana, and they chose West Virginia.
Okay.
So they moved to Parkersburg, and I think in 73, and opened their first McDonald's. And then they grew to about 5 or 6 restaurants, I believe. But then my dad, his brother, and brother-in-law took over from them when they retired.
Okay.
And I actually wasn't involved in the business at all. Every single grandkid was. There was like 7 grandkids were all involved in McDonald's, but I wasn't. I went to New York because I wanted to be an actor. So I went to New York and went to school, and
fun.
But then I started working in restaurants because that's what you do when you're an actor in New York.
That's what
you do.
Yes.
So I met.
So you just couldn't stay away from it regardless.
I couldn't.
I get it.
But we were doing my husband and I were doing like casual fine dining and full service restaurants. So we actually moved from New York to Los Angeles, and then LA to Hong Kong, and worked in the restaurant business there. And then my dad, it's completely random, but
what?
I know it's completely random, but cool adventure living in Hong Kong. But my dad called and said, I want to retire, and I know you want to own your own restaurant. Do you think McDonald's might be the path you'd like to to go on. It's been great to him and great to his mom, my grandparents. So we said, let's do it. So we got out of our contract in Hong Kong, and then we moved to West Virginia. And McDonald's does not make it easy. You have to work in the restaurants. You have to, even with all of your outside experience, you have to start fries, inventory, you have to learn how to do every part of the restaurant business at McDonald's. And then we bought our first restaurant in 2018. And then I know we were chit-chatting off the air about other restaurants. My husband actually opened a different restaurant in 2020, which was a perfect time to open the restaurant.
Oh, yeah. Right during before that global pandemic
that whole thing that was great for everything. So, but we had the one restaurant, McDonald's, until, from 2018 until now. And then Brad Munn, who, I know the Munns have been in this area for like 40 years. Rob, and then Brad. Sure. And we'd had the pleasure to work with Brad a lot through the co-op system. So McDonald's, we have all the operators get together a lot. So I've worked with Brad since 2012, kind of in a different level, like not in the restaurants, but just knowing each other and deciding business things. So he let me know that he was going to be moving to Atlanta and offered us the restaurant. So we had the honor to come buy them in June. So that's, long story short, how we got here.
That is via Hong Kong.
Via Hong Kong, yeah.
So, okay, I have to ask, what were you doing in Hong Kong, and what was that like?
So we came through it a weird way. When I was in college, I had started a theater company because, like I said, I studied theater. And one of the members of our company married a man who was a chef, and he went to Hong Kong to work. And so we were working in Los Angeles, and she was like, this is an amazing opportunity. The company we're working for here is so cool, and you get to, live in Asia. Like, it's just, like, otherworldly.
Yeah, I mean, how would you ever get that opportunity other than,
Yeah, it was that completely random. But so we interviewed on the phone, I remember, like 5 a.m. in LA, and they hired us. And we moved there. My husband managed a restaurant on the Kowloon part of Hong Kong. And I managed one in an area called Lan Kwai Fong, which is kind of like their Bourbon Street of Hong Kong. I know it sounds weird.
Gosh.
It's like their party street. It was very, but it was a barbecue. It was an American barbecue restaurant. He was in a steakhouse. But so we both managed restaurants in different parts of the island, and it's crazy there. You work 6 days a week for usually like 12 to 16 hours a day. Their work ethic is like nothing I've ever seen anywhere. And we met amazing people.
Wow.
Yeah, but you cherish your 1 day off a week very much, your 4 days off. And we would jump on a boat and go to a different island because it's all a bunch of islands. And it was mesmerizing. It was quite an experience.
Sure. I can imagine. Yeah. Well, very cool. That is such an interesting story. Good for you. So I'm interested. Is there really a McDonald's college?
Yeah, it's called Hamburger University.
Like, that really is a thing? I thought that was a joke.
It's not. It's not like a real college, but you go depending on what the length of the class is, but you go to, we call it MHQ. It used to be called Oakbrook, but now it's called, like, McDonald's headquarters, MHQ. And they actually bought out the Oprah Winfrey studio where she used to do all of her shows, and they completely, like, re-imaged it and made it, like, really, really cool. You go there and it's, like, communal seating everywhere and bars, and it's very like modern, millennial friendly kind of building. But you go and
do you feel the presence of Oprah as you walk in?
You kind of do, yeah. But when you go to HU, they have all of these like picture frames on the wall, and they flash the managers, the GMs, because you go to become a general manager. So it's like a training for your general manager. So when you walk in, they have these picture frames, and they'll flash all of the pictures. So like you walk in and you see yourself on the walls at MHT. It's like really cool. They make you feel really special.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, and you do like a week-long or 2 week-long class, and then you get a degree in hamburgerology. It's 100% true. It is. It's cool.
And it's like funny, but it's not funny. Like, that's really kind of cool.
It's funny, but also like, they have a dean's list. Like, if you like get a certain score, you make the dean's list of HQ. And I'm telling you, like, my husband and I we went at the same time, and we were like battling it out to be like, I'm gonna get on the dean's list and you're not. So like, even though you think, okay, it's a degree of hamburger, you get really competitive.
Yeah, you're like, I'm taking this seriously.
I'm gonna be the top of my class, and I was. But
there you go. That is so cool. So so you opened your first McDonald's or started your first purchased, I guess, your first McDonald's there, and you said what, 18?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so you're running one store. So then Now you're running how many stores?
5.
5.
Yes.
I'd say that was a transition.
It is. And well, so my dad had I bought one from my father, and then he had another one that we supervised as well for him, so he could take a step back. And then he ended up selling the other one to someone else. But, so we had 2. So I always kind of feel like it was going from 2 to 5, but it was a big leap. But thankfully we were able to keep so many people in place. Rich was one of the supervisors under. Yes, everybody in this town knows
everybody
who Rich
knows
is.
Rich.
Everybody knows Rich. And so luckily we called we want to keep everybody. Please don't anybody retire, because a lot of times when operators leave, they'll be like, I don't want to work for anybody else.
That's the time that you transition to something else.
Exactly. Yeah. And so we were like, please don't leave. We want you to stay. And thankfully he did. So he helped make the transition so easy. And we have some great general managers in the restaurants who just, it just kind of ticked along. Now, obviously there's going to be some, changes and a little, uncertainty. They didn't know who we were and we didn't know who they were. But I think we've managed to create a really good team together. So
and that's hard because in running and you and I were talking off the air of my husband and I have kind of the brewery, which is more mom and pop versus a corporate situation, and I think the overall philosophies are the same, right? You have to create a team that believes and that cares. And there are ways to do that and ways not to do that. And I think while you can be taught what you're supposed to do, sometimes you either are a person that can rally the troops and build a team or not.
Yeah,
so what have you done to be able to retain those people and rally the troops?
Yeah, so that's there's a fine distinction, right? There's a real nuance in leadership, and I think that when we came,
it's not a dictatorship. I promise.
Not. Yeah, no. And and off air, I was telling her what she does is way harder than what I do, because we have a lot. When you're running your own place, you have to make every operating procedure. You have to. It's crazy what you do. And we have a little bit more structure and guidance because And also, one thing I always say is, we have employees who have been trained other places who can come in, right? You have to train all of your employees for the first time a certain way. But if you've made a burger in Chillicothe, you know how to make a burger in Jackson. So we kind of have,
you hope that it's consistent,
We verify.
Yes.
But one of the things that we did when we came in was we told everybody, we're not going to change anything right away. We're just going to watch how you guys do things. You don't have to, we're not coming in and doing boom, let's watch, see how you do things. For the most part, things should be done the same way in every McDonald's. And then we introduced our bonus structure and our benefit structure, which I think is really compelling. So we try really hard to make sure that our employees have an incentive because everybody works for themselves, right? Nobody's trying to make money for McDonald's. They're trying to make money for themselves. So we always kind of think, how can you help us improve our restaurant by improving your own situation? So we do a lot of things to try to make the restaurant fun. We have this enthusiasm calendar, and we do just the goofiest stuff. If you tell it to outsiders, it sounds really weird, but it really does. But we'll have days where we just do pancake day or hot cake day, where we bring in all sorts of hot cake toppings and bananas and whipped cream and caramel, and say make your own hot cakes. We have a skating party every single month for all of our employees and their families. So everybody can come.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's super fun. We do it at the Cavalier Skating Rink. They're so good to us over there. Plug for the skating rink. We love them so much. And we do days where once a month where everybody can bring their kids in for free Happy Meals, and I don't know, lots of random stuff, silly things. We did March Madness Day and Sibling Day and Pretzel Day. We did a corn dog day last month. I know it sounds really silly, but you have to do something to keep it interesting and different every day.
Yeah, and it's like giving somebody something to look forward to. It's one day we had my husband came up with, God knows we had a bad winter, right?
Oh, it's never ending.
The never ending snow of 2025. And he's like, let's have a warm up the winter party. So we called out to Chris Logston, who's a singer in Columbus, and he sings Buffett and all that stuff. And we just had a day where everybody wore Hawaiian shirts and whatever. And I didn't even think anything about it. They were so geeked, so excited. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. Mm-hmm. Everybody's running around with their leis on and stuff. And so it's just something to break up the monotony sometimes.
That's 100% what it is. It's right, because we do the same thing. In the restaurant business, you do the same thing every day.
Every day.
The people and the interactions are different, but the mechanisms of what you do are the same every day. So it's just
Correct.
keeping it exciting and not making it boring, because, whatever you do, work is work. Nobody really wants to work.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'd much rather be, watching
At
a
the
movie or
beach or
something,
whatever.
So
So
hiking or doing something fun.
so just trying to make it interesting and fun, and what that does too is it creates a culture where people enjoy coming to work, because if you just if you come in and you're like, I don't mind being here, it's so much better than people who are like, I gotta go to work. So
Sure.
and that reflects in our service, right? If our employees are super happy, then they give great service, and the communities deserve great service. So that's kind of one of the reasons, or the ways we facilitate it.
I was just thinking, as somebody that didn't grow up here, sometimes it's hard to move into small communities because people, it's just hard because you didn't grow up here.
Yep.
And how did your transition go? Have people been welcoming to you?
They have.
Good.
They really
I
have.
hope so. I think that's one thing that we have going for us down here in Appalachia. We're
It's true.
pretty sweet people.
It is. They're so true. And I was telling this story just a few minutes ago. So we close on the same day as the business.
They lost their minds, literally.
I don't remember most of the summer, to be honest with you. But there was our house needed just a little bit of work before we could move into. We need to get an AC and a heater and things like that. So we were able to kind of move in July and do all the kind of pre-moving in stuff that you do in June. But we moved, and we have a cat. Her name is Wren, and my daughter loves her so much. And we're on the main street. So the cat, and we moved from a cul-de-sac with a cow pasture in our backyard. So the cat was used to being able to go out, come back in, and
Gotcha.
we trusted it. But she got out the first week, and my daughter was devastated. And I'm walking all around the neighborhood, going
no.
Ren.
Oh.
And there was this elderly gentleman sitting on his porch, and he was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm good." He said, "What you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, my cat got lost, and we're looking for it." And he's like, "Well, what does it look like?" I'm like, "Well, she's kind of beige and kind of stripy." And he was like, "Well, I'll keep an eye out for her." And then I'm walking down the street. 10 minutes later, I see this man driving around going, "Ren." And I'm like,
"Oh no!" That is the sweetest.
I was and he was like, "I saw a cat that might be like that at the bank down the street." And I'm like, "Where did I move? These are the nicest humans. This might be the nicest town in America,
That is the sweetest story.
So when people ask me what was it like to move, and I'm like, because we moved to Wellston, and I'm like, people are really, really nice. They're willing to go look for my cat for me. We did find her. So
I was going to say, you got to finish the story.
We
did you find the cat?
We
Okay.
found her, but
Did you explain to her that it's not best to go outside now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We no jumping out the window, no going out the door.
Yeah.
But so she stays put pretty well now.
That's good.
But I just think that's so indicative of the kind of reception that we've gotten here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that story. That makes it so fun.
Yeah.
So running a McDonald's, my goodness, with the corporate structure and all of that, which, as you said, can be helpful, very helpful, but sometimes can be kind of you want to yank your hair out. Yeah. But because you said that you had also, you and your husband had a mom and pop, what are some of the differences that you see and the pros and cons to both sides?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. He was really the one who kind of spearheaded that project, but everything falls on you. There's no assistance, there's no help, there's no for instance, when I say when COVID hit, thank goodness for McDonald's, because we had scientists on the phone with us every day, and people from the state saying, this is what's happening, this is what we're expecting, this is what the trend is going to be. They really partner with you in a way that you just don't get as a person in business for yourself. And then the way we have relationships with our suppliers, we have some really great things in place, with egg prices skyrocketing now.
Yes,
thank goodness for McDonald's, they were able to, fix their price already, a few years ago, so that we haven't had to raise our prices because they didn't raise our prices.
Okay.
So, I feel so awful. You think of these, small town diners or restaurants who are serving
it's
breakfast.
rough,
this could put you out of business.
Sure.
So, I'm so thankful that we have people who, you have to negotiate your prices with, Cisco and U.S. Foods and all of those people yourself, and it's, you kind of just get what you get. And here we have a crowd of people fighting for us in the background.
There's strength in numbers.
There is, and they're
that.
just out there to make sure that our people have the safest food, the best food, always on time food, that we don't run out of things. I know sometimes we do, but like stay really hard not to.
It happens.
It happens. But so I would say that's really kind of the perk about working with a brand as big as McDonald's is, you know, sometimes it's like, oh God, we have to do this. It's really annoying. Or, you know, employees will be like, why do you have to do it? It's like, well, because that's what McDonald's says we have to do. And we said that we would follow the rules. Even if sometimes they don't make sense, but it really does always protect us. Like, you know, I said we lived in Asia, and, you know, you go to places and when you see, like the first week we were in Hong Kong, you know, you're adjusting to the food and like you see those golden arches and you're like, oh my God, I can eat that. It's going to be good. It's going to be safe. It's not going to hurt my stomach. Like, you can trust
Thank
it.
goodness,
you know?
yes.
So that's kind of the power of the brand is, you know, no matter where you go, if that's what you're eating under, it's going to be safe and good. So,
you know, and I love that story because I had a similar, and I was just in New York. Like I was at a convention for like a week in New York when I was in college. And I can remember just being very overwhelmed because New York City is very overwhelming. And, you know, coming from here, you're like,
yeah, it's a lot.
What is happening right now? I walk out, first minute I was there, I walk out to the curb to cross the street and two taxis just slam into each other and land literally like 3 inches from my feet. And I'm like, okay.
Terrifying.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I can remember just walking down the street and seeing a McDonald's and being like, oh, I feel so much better now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It was just like comfort.
It is.
You know?
It is comforting. It's kind of the ultimate comfort food, really.
Yeah.
And everyone has
absolutely.
their favorite, you know. And
Yeah.
you know, if you mess it up, you notice immediately, right?
Yeah.
You
Everyone
know,
knows what it should be.
right?
So.
It's like your coffee. Like you can tell when you get it. Like there's not that extra pump in it that I, you know. So we try to get it right every time. But like you know how you like it with McDonald's.
So I'm interested, like kind of in the business aspect of McDonald's. You know, what is your dine-in versus, because I have to think that your drive-through and carry-out is
Yes.
huge as compared to dine-in. Is that true?
Yeah, so each restaurant will have its kind of own profile based on
Okay.
just, you know, I mean, we don't plan it. It's just what the town kind of decides it is.
Yeah, we're not that arrogant to dictate what y'all are going to do. Like,
But for the most part, every one of our restaurants is over 70% drive-through.
Okay.
So, you know, there's some restaurants that are like 76% drive-through.
Whoa.
But that doesn't count curbside. So it could be, if you think about it, even more would be
Sure.
curbside. And then, you know, we're working so hard to build that delivery business as well to, you know, people, you know, order your food
So
at home.
like
order food at
DoorDash
lunch.
or something of
DoorDash.
that- of
you
that
can order
nature.
through, you can actually order delivery through the app, but you can also do it through DoorDash.
wow. Okay.
But so if we say it's 70% drive-through, but you know maybe 6 of it's curbside and 10%'s delivery, it leaves a very small amount for dine-in.
Yeah.
Which can be misleading because if you go in there from 7 to 8 or 12 to 1 and it's packed, you know, but those are really
Sure.
the only times that there are a lot of people in the lobby.
It's interesting. It's just a whole different, you know, model than what you would think of restaurant-wise.
Yep.
And so that means that you have to put a really good crew together that works those drive-throughs and whatever. And I'm gonna be honest with you, you got lanes going every which way and whatever. How y'all keep track of that, I will never ever know. I mean, it is insanity, and it never stops. I mean, you go to our Jackson one, and they're lined out to Main Street.
Yep. Same thing with Wellston. They'll be like back, like all the way out to the road, and you're just like, oh, you know. But we work really hard on drive-through time, so that was the first thing that we came. That we said, okay, we want to be the fastest place in town, and you know we've improved the speed a lot since we got here. It wasn't bad before, but we have made a lot of progress, and we have these competitions with McDonald's where we do like
Love
Fast
that.
Fridays, and I'm really proud because this past Fast Friday they do like 3 tiers of restaurants. Like these are the super fastest and the medium, and you know I don't want to say the slowest because they're so fast, but and 3 out of the 4 restaurants here like we're in the top 20.
Oh
so
my
I'm like,
gosh.
yay! Like we're doing so good,
Yes,
you know.
that's awesome.
And it makes the restaurants really excited. We have like a trophy that goes around for the speed, and they all fight for the trophy. So it's pretty fun. But that's the main thing is like you just have to keep the cars moving.
Keep it going.
You have to keep it moving. And I know sometimes we have a policy where we park cars. You know, we ask them to pull forward because a lot of times people don't understand why we're doing that. But we kind of have a McDonald's rule. If the order behind your order is ready and we're still bagging that order, we want to park that order so we can keep the line moving for everybody, because you don't want one person waiting on a sweet tea for 20 minutes when, you know, somebody ordered 18 quarter pounders in front of you.
Right.
So the goal is always to just keep as many cars moving as you possibly can so everybody has a faster experience.
Yeah, and I'm glad you addressed that, because I think a lot of people get frustrated or whatever, like, why? Why do I have to do this? Well, there's a method to the madness, I promise.
There is. McDonald's never does anything haphazardly.
No,
so
they kind of know what they're doing.
They do. And it's a weird, I mean, like McDonald's actually says that we should park between 12 to 15% of all cars that go through the drive-thru.
Whoa, okay.
Because if you think about it, you know how long it takes to make a frappe versus cooking a fresh quarter pounder off the grill. That's obviously going to take longer. So you just want to make sure that everybody, again, is just getting their food as fast as you possibly can.
Very cool. So you were telling me, oh, the allergies are killing me. Sorry. You were telling me, let's talk about the benefits and things for a minute, because I had no idea. Thank you, Cheryl. She's so sweet. Thank you. I don't know what's going on. It just itches. It's like, anyway. You were telling me, though, there's some really cool benefit like packages or incentives for employees, and I had never heard of such a thing. So let's talk about that. Why should someone come work at McDonald's? Well, we're going to tell you here in just a second.
It's my favorite thing to talk about with McDonald's. So there's a program called Archways to Opportunity, and you can go to archwaystoopportunity.com and take a peek, so you can see for yourself. But I love talking about it this time of year and in the fall, because what it is we offer several programs. We do scholarships. So say you're going to college and you just got accepted to OU or OSU and you want to go. This is the perfect time, because if you work for us for 15 hours a week for at least 90 days, you can get a scholarship. And I think it's either $2,500 for crew and $3,000 for managers. Just no essays, no
like
merit.
You're just gonna get
We
it.
just cut the check to you and say thank you so much for working for us this summer.
What?
Yeah. So that's one of the benefits. So if you start now, when you go to school in August, you'll have the ability to just take that with you. And then another, I know, it's awesome, right?
I think you're making this up.
No, it's totally true. And then another cool one is our free online high school. So I know we get a lot of people who are just fabulous and have first-time jobs, or they're building a career with us. Okay. We also have a lot of people who maybe this is like their second chance at life type of situation.
Absolutely.
A lot of people who haven't finished high school. So, the typical route is to go and pay money to get a GED. Well, we offer a free online high school. It's not a GED program. It's an actual online high school, and you pick between like 4 different courseworks, I think, and you completely free. You get an advisor who helps you stay on track, because staying on track might be an issue for some of the people who are doing this. So it's a one-on-one advisor, and you finish, and then you get your high school diploma, and it's also available for your immediate family member. So say you're a 17-year-old kid who's in high school and doing great, but your mom didn't finish high school, she can finish high school with us. So that's a cool program we have. And then the fanciest program that I'm really excited about is we do a free online college program. So it's, I think there are 2 different colleges you can go to, but I've only done it with my employees through CTU. You get to pick which one, but CTU is the first one, Colorado Tech University.
Okay.
It's a fully accredited college, but they have in person, but you do it online if you're obviously living in Jackson.
I'm guessing you're not going to drive to
You're
Colorado.
not going to drive to Colorado.
Every day, yeah.
So they have an online program, and there are multiple. You can do account. There are also social justice. Accounting. There are so many majors you can choose from. There are some that you can't because you have to do lab work with them. So it doesn't make sense if you're getting a nursing degree if you don't do, on-hand stuff. But the things that you can do that don't require lab work. And they do it's one class every 5 weeks, and there are no midterms and there are no finals. So they gear it towards people who are working full-time jobs.
Gotcha.
And all of the classes are live but recorded, so you can attend them live, or you can do them at your time period. And then the professors have open office hours for people to go to. And it's completely 100% free. You can get your bachelor's, you can get your master's degree with it. Tons of people in McDonald's.
This is crazy. Yeah. Free college for working at McDonald's?
Yep, 15 hours a week.
What?
Yep. We have someone in our Oak Hill program at Oak Hill is doing it right now. I have 2 people at Wellston who are doing it right now. And then I have 2 of my managers at MacArthur, who I love talking to people about what they want to do, right? And there are so many, especially younger, I'd say like 18 to 25-year-olds who are just kind of floating through life.
Yeah.
And they don't really know what they want to do. So we sit down and say like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to grow with us? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you have all of these opportunities. If you're working here, you might as well work towards something, even if you don't know what it is.
You need a goal. You got to have something to work toward.
So I said, well, you can use our Archway scholarship money and pay for a realtor class at like Hocking Hills College. So I have two girls, two of my managers actually, who are in the middle of their realtor training programs at MacArthur.
Okay,
and
that's cool.
I know. And like, I mean, I don't want them to leave us, but I want them to be working towards something.
Yeah.
So they're halfway through that. And then afterwards, all they have to do is take their test and they could be a licensed realtor, all while they were working at McDonald's. So.
And they could do both.
They could do both, right? Yeah.
Like, seriously, that's.
And I don't mind being a place where people come and better themselves and then leave, because more people will come knowing that they can do that as well.
I've always said that if you can better yourself by leaving our place, I will do anything I can to help you. So I think that's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to see people leave, but you get it.
Yeah.
Because you care about them.
Yeah, and then you have cheerleaders for you out there, right?
Yes.
People who love you and come back to you, and, if something goes wrong, people are like, no, but they're great. They helped me get my realtor license. And that's what we just want to be. We just want to be a good neighbor. We want to be a good employer. And we want to, make our communities better. And if that means more people are getting educated in our community because of us, like win-win for both of us.
That is so good. I've never heard of such a thing. That is amazing.
You can get your master's working for free. It's crazy. I don't get to do it because I said I want to do my master. They're like, you don't qualify for it. I'm like, that doesn't seem fair, but right.
Bummer. Yeah, that's not good at all.
It's not like I have time, but
yeah, right. Like in your spare time. Yeah. I know. So tell us a bit about, you were talking about, so Minecraft is this huge thing.
Yeah.
There's a movie coming out, which will be at Tri-City Theater Thursday. Starts Thursday. Yep. But you were telling me there's going to be an adult Happy Meal.
Yep, starts today. What? No April Fool, starts today.
Yeah, we're not going to April Fool you today. No. We already said that.
There is a kids Happy Meal, and then there's an adult Happy Meal, and there's an adult Happy Meal toy. And don't quote me, I feel like there are several of them. So, of course, you can go back and get as many as you want. But it's a Big Mac or a 10-piece, kind of the same formula we've done before when we did. Do you remember when we did like the Nugget Buddy Happy Meals and the McFly a couple of years ago? But I think they're like Grimace or like Birdie and like Ronald Minecraft does this. So it's gonna be really fun. Yeah. I haven't seen the toys myself, but we also have a new sauce just for that, and it's do you remember a few years ago we had like a sweet Thai chili sauce, really spicy, so it kind of tastes like that. It's like on fire. So if you get the nuggets, you should, and you like spice, try it. If you don't like spice, do not try it because it'll burn your mouth.
Because you will not like it.
You will not like it, but those start today, and they anticipate them being like sold out in like 3 to 4 days. So if you're interested in it, make sure you go now because they won't be there for very long.
Very cool. And then so there's the adult one and then the kid one.
And the kid one, yep.
Okay.
And
Fun.
Yeah, I know my kids were very excited about it, and I didn't know it came out on Thursday. I thought it was a couple more weeks, so we'll definitely have to go to the movie theater with our little Grimace toys, and
Yeah, you got to take all this stuff with you. Yeah, and absolutely.
We're talking about new products. I have to say it because it's one of my favorite things ever at McDonald's is we're getting our chicken strips back this month.
Oh.
And then in July, our snack wraps come back. So I'm like,
those are so good.
They're so good. And with the snack wraps, or with the chicken strips that are coming out, we have a new like chili sauce. It's like a creamy chili. It's so good. Like I got to try it on a business trip, and I'm just dreaming about it. I'm like, I can't wait until I get to the restaurant because it's so delicious.
That's so good.
But if you're a fan of the snack wraps, they come back in July.
Definitely a fan of the chicken strips. Yeah. So yeah,
they're so good, and they're different than the ones before. Do you remember how like you'd order like a pack of 3 or 4 and like you get one that was like this big and then one that was like this big?
Yeah.
We hated that, but there's like nothing we could do. Like they would come in all different sizes. These are all uniform and like all a normal size chicken strip. Okay. So that was like our biggest complaint about them, and they have ironed out that issue.
Good deal. There you go. Again, you can't control some of that stuff, right?
I can't control some of it, right? And you're like, why are you giving me chicken strips that are this big? Nobody wants that.
Because that's what Mr. McDonald said. Right? I don't know. That's what Ronald sent me. So, that is so interesting. All of that stuff is so much fun. I was trying to think, okay, so let's see. I don't want to go down the negativity path, but I feel like it's a fair topic, and I want to talk about keyboard warriors for a minute and social media and stuff, because it can be such a blessing and such a curse.
It can be.
And we've all been there and done that. Yeah. And I guess I'd just like to preach for a second and be like, sometimes people are doing the best they can. And what do you do to combat some of the keyboard warriors?
Yeah.
Because we've had some dillies, come through our place. So
it is, and it hurts a smaller business even more. So anytime anybody's bashing a mom and pop, I just want to be like, you don't know the damage you're doing to those poor people. But you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Because so often and I know you're probably very politely referring to some of the things that were said the past few months and, about some of our restaurants. And it's really hard, especially the new person being in town, being like, our people are trying so hard.
And I was kind of talking not just about you, but just in general.
In general, yeah.
So,
no, you have to have a thick skin, right?
You do.
And you can never win. Like, so often you'll feel like, I want to write back. Like, the person who's saying really mean things was fired for stealing or something. You can't do that,
I know. There's always another side to the story.
There's always another side of the story.
Sometimes you just have to be the bigger person.
Yeah, or, just, you can never win. And what I always say is, like, if you have an issue, like, we try really hard to fix it. Like, we always say, there was a sign in a store that I saw once that every complaint is an opportunity to, like, wow a customer.
Yeah, to do better.
To do better,
learn.
To fix it, but also to, like, make an employee or a guest for life. There's an amazing book that I always recommend. It's called Contagious by David Berger, I believe. It's got a bright orange label. Every business owner should own that. But it talks about, like, word of mouth and how things become viral. And they talk about how word of mouth is so much actually more powerful than things becoming viral online. And I try to keep that in mind so often, because every great human interaction we have outweighs every negative social media post. And it doesn't feel like that in the moment. Like, in the moment, you're like scrolling through Facebook going, oh my gosh, why does everybody,
Well, in the moment, that's all that you can focus on. And you've got to realize there's a great big world out there. That other people are looking at the great big world.
Yes. And, thankfully the people in this town are genuinely just really respectful and really nice. And for the most part, when they have issues, they don't have problems like saying, hey, or calling or using the number. Or like at our restaurants, we have an email, like, on the drive-through and in the restaurants, and it comes, you can use it for, complaints, praise. It actually is meant for like donation requests, but we get everything through them, which is fine. But that's what it's for. But you can use it for however you want. The idea is you have a direct reach to me. It just comes straight to me. It doesn't go to anybody else.
And I love that. And I guess that was going to be my point, and you just made it for me, is that if you do have an issue or a suggestion or a solution to something, how about you reach out and not immediately go to negative town?
And one thing too that's really hard is, we had a viral post. We had 2 viral posts at Vienna in like 2020, like during the peak of COVID, and we were so just adamant about keeping everybody safe, and somebody wrote something that was just blatantly false, and the amount of sales that it crashes, the amount of negative harm it does in the restaurant, like, people then don't make their hours, and then they can't pay their bills because one false claim can completely and it's just like, you're not hurting the business, you're hurting the employees.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing that we can't fix, and we have cameras everywhere, so we can find out anything. If there's ever anything that's going wrong, we have the ability to find it out very quickly.
Yes.
So I guess, long story short, you can always come to us if there's an issue. We'll fix it, no problem. And if our managers aren't able to fix it, like, contact me directly. I have no problem talking to anybody.
Yeah, and so I think I'm so glad that you just said all of that, because it's so true. And I don't think, listen, the restaurant business is very difficult, and we don't go in it thinking that there's never going to be any issues. Like, we know that there are going to be issues. So just let us have the opportunity to fix it.
Yeah, and with the turnover in the restaurant industry, whether it's a like a full service restaurant or a quick service, you have turnover. And some people, like, I think we have a good training program. We try really hard to make sure everybody gets the same training, but people miss steps, and like, we don't know. Like, I can't be there 24 hours. You can't be there 24 hours a day. If you don't tell us, us like where the gap
The
is.
breakdown
Yeah,
came. Yeah.
we can't fix it. So like we don't mind at all. We just always ask that you're nice and polite to my beautiful staff because they work really hard. Yeah, you know, you can be mean to me, but please don't be mean to my people.
Oh my gosh, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mama Bear comes out so fast,
Yeah.
and I'm like, do not yell at my 16-year-old
Yeah.
host.
Or don't
They are
yell at
somebody's
my
daughter.
50-year-old. Yeah, that's somebody's mom too.
Yes,
you know?
no, and I agree with that. Like, it's just, it's. Yeah, please yell at me. Don't
Yeah,
yell at
me.
them.
Don't yell at them.
I agree with
Exactly.
you 100%. And I guess the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and we could probably do a whole show about this, but just being a woman in you know, and an entrepreneur and in the restaurant business. Have you had any, you know, how do you feel about that?
Yeah.
Have there been struggles or, you
For
know,
sure.
maybe not taken seriously or something happened?
Yes, I mean, every woman can relate, I'm sure. But, you know, I started my career in New York and, you know, I feel like, I don't want to get too crazy, but, you know, you have to work really hard as a woman to get, you know, this far.
Yeah.
And I think I've been very lucky that I've had so many great role models, male and female, but I've had so many female bosses who push me to the next step. They're like, this job is open, you're applying for it. You know, I haven't really had a whole lot of pushback from, you know, people, but, you know, the people who went out of their way to say, hey, you'd be good for this have generally always been women. And so I try to do that as well. It's tough sometimes, you know, you'll have, you know, big men, sometimes our employees will get in my face and I'll be like, no, like, yeah, I can be just as big as you.
Like,
you
I
know?
literally
I'm
don't.
But, you know, I think that for the most part, I work really hard to make everybody feel welcome. And one of my favorite things about being a female boss is when I love when people ask for raises. I love it. You know, we try to give out raises without people asking, you know, pretty frequently. But when people ask for it, you know, sometimes the way people ask for raises is quite different. And I love when I love when young girls will come and ask me for a raise because they'll go about it in just the complete wrong way. They'll come and they'll be apologizing for themselves, you know, and I'm like, no. Let me tell you how you're going to ask for a raise. I want you to do this. I want you to go take 5 minutes. I want you to come back and I want you to tell me why you deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, in a way,
and that's so good.
yeah, because so often I'll see, you know, just like they're literally falling over themselves, like embarrassed that they're advocating for themselves. And I'm like, no, like this is how you're going to do it and you're going to do it stronger. So the next time you go ask somebody else, you're not apologizing for
Good
you
for
know.
you. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, it's important, you know.
It is.
Nobody did that for me when I was here. So
No,
it's like,
and agreed. And you think about that sometimes,
Yeah.
like what could I do to do something better
Yeah.
or whatever to help somebody out.
so yeah, that's one of my favorite things. I love
that.
I love making them, you know, advocate for themselves a little stronger than they maybe did before.
What a good story. See, you are a great boss.
I try. I don't always hit the mark, but we try really, really hard.
No, and
so.
I think that's the whole thing. And like I said, you don't go in the restaurant business thinking that you're going to do everything perfectly and that, you know, it's going to be easy because it's not.
It's an intense business, and you know we after I leave here, I told my husband we have a big visit coming up next month at MacArthur, so we've been over there, you know, working with the teams, making sure they're doing everything great. And he's like, "Well, I'll be over there cleaning." I said, "Well, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go home. I'm going to change and put my yucky clothes on so I can go over because we need to do some painting." You know, it's not like a glamorous lifestyle
No,
at all.
it's
It's cleaning
not.
toilets and painting
Yes.
and scrubbing grease.
Yeah,
And, like
all the stuff.
it's fun though, but it's not glamorous at all.
Exactly. No, and you're exactly right about that. But it's worthwhile and it's very rewarding.
It is.
You see people smiling and laughing, and that's all I need to see is that. Yeah. So I get it. So keep up the good work, and you all are doing amazing.
Thank you. Well, we really appreciate being here. We appreciate the support from everybody. We can't wait to keep meeting. If you see us out and about, if you see Walmart or Sixth Sense or anywhere we might be, walking around the street looking for our cat, you know, please come say hi, introduce yourself. You know, we
Yell for Ren.
yeah, yell for Ren. You know, I'm always looking for new friends in town. So, you know, if you see us, please, you know, come tell us good, bad, ugly, or if you just want to say hi, we're happy to meet everybody.
Yeah, and it is hard to move into a new community and not know a lot of people
Yeah.
and whatever. So you guys are doing a great job of that too.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, is there anything else you want to tell our viewers while you're here?
No, I just appreciate all your support, and you know, I hope to see everybody at the restaurants.
Yeah, everybody get out, support your local McDonald's, and support the staff because they have the opportunity. And if you're looking for employment opportunities, you can go to college for free.
Yeah. If you're a freshman or if you're in college and you're going back this fall, you know, come get a $3,000 scholarship.
Come get a scholarship.
Yep.
Come talk with them about that. Be selfish. Take
Right,
it.
take it. Take the money. I'm just giving it away. Somebody come take it.
Just floating away. That's awesome. Well, this has been such a wonderful time this morning, and I really enjoyed talking with you.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Very, very good. All right. Well, get out to our area McDonald's, support, and don't forget those Minecraft adult Happy Meals and kid Happy Meals start today. Very, very cool. All right. Well, we do have another message, and our friend Pete Wilson is waiting in the wings to do some news. So we'll be back in just a moment.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegram.news.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegram.news.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegram.news.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegram.news.com.
Check it out.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends, such as Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern Rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
Did you know Jackson is home to a locally owned and operated full-service print shop? Zip Printing covers all your print, signage, and design needs. From business cards, booklets, and posters to yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, oversized signage, and more. We can help you or your business advertise and look good doing it. Zip Printing also offers logo design. Allow us to assist you in building or elevating your brand today. Zip Printing is located in the Stockmeister Plaza at 708 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio. So stop in or give us a call at 740-286-3023.
All right, and we are back with our good friend Pete Wilson. I did want to thank Whitney for coming in. Cruells, she has her hands full with now several McDonald's stores, but I think they're doing a great job, and so she's really fun to talk to.
Right, when you think about the largest businesses in our local area, you got to think about McDonald's.
Yes,
because
you do.
of the volume of business that they do.
Oh my gosh!
All you got to do is look at the drive-through line in the morning and whatever. It's a national brand. One of the top brands in the country. People are familiar with it wherever they go, and so that's a lot of pressure.
Yes, it is.
When you come in as an owner in a new place.
Yes, it is.
So,
absolutely.
So she just needs to keep smiling and keep working, and
that's right.
Everything will be everything will be just fine.
They have the right attitude, so that's a good thing.
Exactly. So, and they are in all of our local communities.
Yes.
So there we go. All right. Well, Jennifer, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We do have a primary election coming up on May the 6th. That's going to slip up on us quicker.
Wait, we do?
We do. Right.
How did I not know that?
Right. And I don't mean to jump the gun, but early voting will begin next week. And so, you need to know that. But one of the big issues locally, of course, is the continuation of the Jackson City income tax, which we've brought up before. But the latest on that is one of the new signs, by the way, that Adrian has just put up there. They're popping up all over town now. This is a city-wide issue, so it's just voters in the city of Jackson that will be voting on this. But once again, the issue is the continuation of the 1.5% city income tax that was first voted on and passed by the city electorate in 2020. It had a clause that it would go for 5 years. This is year 5. Mm-hmm. They put it on the ballot, the city did last November, the end of year 4, and it failed. A little bit surprising to some people, but it failed by a narrow margin with a lot of votes because of the presidential election or whatever. So the city fathers and other supporters have kind of dissected the thing, come up with lots of different reasons on what went wrong. And so they are going with a renewed, greater effort to get it passed in the primary election coming up on May the 6th. The tax, even though it was defeated last November, want to emphasize that it is still being collected.
Sure.
They did probably the wise and cautious thing by trotting it out there early.
Yep.
Because then they had a chance to do a redo. And that is what they're doing here in the May primary election. It is not a new tax. It is not labeled as a renewal because it's an income tax.
I think that did confuse some people.
Right. It's not a renewal. It's not a replacement. Those are words that get applied to property taxes. This would be a continuation. The truth is that most income taxes, municipal income taxes, and almost every city in the state has it. Many villages have it as
Yes.
well. Usually does not have a length involved. It's just on there till it might be taken off. All the chances of a tax being taken off, as we know, are not very good.
Mm-hmm.
But this time there will not be a sunset clause on there. There wasn't the last time either, because they feel that the city has proven the case that it's needed. They've done good things with it, and it's very much needed. So they're trying to sell the track record of how well, of all the things that have been done. And the tax brings in almost $4 million a year now. And that is a lot of money that they did not have before. So, of course, they've done the street paving. They're working even on sidewalks. They've been able to leverage grants through major infrastructure projects that are very expensive, done some demolition, cleanup. And of course, a lot of the money also goes now to support the police department,
Yep.
which before was funded completely out of the general fund, and it took up most of the general fund and didn't leave money then for things like street paving and like that. So it was an
Correct.
inside-out type factor. But the new thing that we want to say on the income tax is that there are town hall meetings that have now been set.
Okay.
They're going to have 2 town halls. This, if you have questions, issues even, this is your chance to go out and ask questions, make comments, and weigh in on the
right.
city income tax, because an informed electorate is important no matter what your approach or attitude might be. But those town hall meetings, the first is going to be next Monday. That is April the 7th. It'll be at 6 p.m. At the City Council chambers. The second one is scheduled for the following Thursday, April 10th. It's going to be in the mayor's office at 145 Broadway Street. That is the Memorial Building. So that is a little different.
Okay.
It's at noon, earlier in the day and in a smaller setting. But the main one and the first one, it will be in the City Council chambers. Even though it's not a council meeting, it is a public forum. They want people to come.
Yeah,
when
and
I
don't
say,
complain about it if you don't show up.
Right, and when I say they, we're talking about Jackson Mayor Randy Evans, the administration, Jackson City Council, but also the committee that is supporting the income tax. It's called Citizens for Jackson. They were prominent in getting the tax passed initially in 2020. And the chairman of the Citizens for Jackson is H.D. Crabtree. H.D. is a former city councilman. We have his picture there, Adrian, if you get that up for us, for folks who may not have met
There he
H.D.
is.
H.D. Was a city councilman. He had to resign as city councilman at the end of last year because he and his wife Amanda and their family moved just outside the city
Yep.
limits. So you have to be in the city to serve on city council. But he was so impressed by the progress that has been made in the city that he volunteered to be the chairman of the Citizens for
That's
Jackson
awesome.
Committee. Now, something that we need to stress that, if you're involved, you know this, but if you're not, you probably don't. Jackson city government, they've got the money coming in for the income tax. They can't spend city money on a campaign. That has to be private money. You can't use public money for a tax campaign.
Okay.
And so the Citizens for Jackson has raised some money, got some contributions, and that's how they paid for those signs and whatever other campaign approach that they're going to take.
Gotcha.
But you can count on the Citizens for Jackson being involved in the town hall forums as well. But once again, this is your chance to come out and weigh in on it. And there were a lot of votes for the income tax, but there were even more against it last time. And if your no vote was because of a beef, because of a complaint, you have a chance to air that, and maybe a change will be affected. But this is your chance to comment on that.
Yep.
And once again, this will be on May the 6th in the primary election. But the income tax is still being collected. Half of it goes for physical improvements, and probably the foremost thing that people see and think of is the street paving. Because we know, I know as a Jackson resident, I know that you know as a Jackson area resident, a former Jackson resident, there just wasn't money for a regular street paving program. They were able to pave the state routes. That's state money mostly doing that. But the local streets, where residents live in like that, some of them got in pretty bad shape. And it wasn't because past city councils and administrations didn't care. It was
just
because
didn't have any money.
There wasn't money for it.
Yep.
So,
and you know what? I love being able to see, police cars down at the police station too, and the fact that they've been able to put the crew that they need back together again. Right. I think, they're doing a fantastic job, and that's something that's very important to a community.
Right, and a couple of the arguments that I know that may come out at the town hall meeting, they've come out before during council meetings and when discussions have been made about the pros of the income tax. It's that a lot of the money for the income tax actually comes from non-residents, because the way it works, if you got working income, you're going to pay the income tax as a resident of Jackson, but you're also going to pay it if you work in Jackson, unless you're paying the income tax where you live. But there's lots of people that live in unincorporated areas that work in Jackson but live near Jackson, and they support the tax, and they don't have a vote in it. Some people don't like that.
I know, it's kind of wild.
But of course they are supported at their workplace by city services, police, fire, the streets, and so forth. They still use those services, and as employees and customers and like that. So that is probably the big issue locally in the May 6th primary election, rather than any candidate races or so forth. Okay, I've got to turn to a couple of other things real quick. We haven't had a chance to tout this, but there is a new exhibit at the Marquet Cultural Arts Center in the gallery. Okay, and is one of the youngest artists who has ever been featured, and that is Maya Dummett. Yes. She is a Jackson High School senior, and there she is by one of her creations. Now, isn't that striking?
She is amazing.
She is, right. And the people that run the Marquet, the Southern Hills Arts Council, they were aware of some of the work she'd done, in the high school art shows and so forth. And they wanted to feature her. And you can see at a recent reception when her exhibit opened, there were quite a few people there. But Maya has had work in the 2024 Foothills Art Festival, where there's many more veteran artists that are involved, as well as the youth artists. And she is working towards being a tattoo artist. So that is an interesting way for her art talent to be to go. But I think we all know that all you got to do is look at people. Most people have tattoos, particularly the younger people.
Yep.
I'm not going that direction. I made that decision a long time ago, but it's very popular, and if you're going to have a tattoo on you, it may as well be beautiful.
And I think that's the thing, is if you're going to wear something around constantly, you want it to be a beautiful work of art.
Right, but the Marquet is located at 269 East Main Street in downtown Jackson, the heart of downtown Jackson. From Tuesday through Saturday, the Marquet is open from 12 to 5, and if you're just going in to see the art, whatever the gallery exhibit is, and it rotates every month or every other month, it's free, totally free.
Just walk in.
Just pop in there, and then of course you can also check out some of the shows that might be coming up, the live performances, and get advance tickets, which will save you a little money. A couple other things we want to tell you: Zaleski Village Council up in Benton County, they have a vacancy on their council, and so they are publicly inviting eligible people who are interested in council service to apply. Of course, you have to live in Zaleski, and you need to be a registered voter. But all you need to do is write a letter of intent and drop it off in the drop box at the utility office if the office is not open, or you can mail it to the Village of Zaleski at Post Office Box 176, Zaleski, Ohio, and the deadline is They need to be turned in no later than April 14th because that's when Zaleski Village Council meets again. They would probably like to fill the seat by that time. So if you're interested in service, there is your shot to do that. Also, we might have mentioned this before on TV, but we'll do it again. Colton Village Council is meeting tonight, and the thing that's different, Jennifer, is that they are going to start their meetings now at 6 p.m. rather than 7 p.m.
Okay.
Their regular meeting time was 7 p.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. It used to be the first and the third. They've gone to one meeting a month unless they need special meetings.
Sure.
And now instead of 7 p.m. start, it'll be 6 p.m. They meet at the Colton Community Building, which is on 2nd Street in Colton. All these public meetings, council meetings, school board meetings, or whatever, you don't need a reason to go. If you're interested, just go and see what's happening in your local government firsthand. All right, and the other thing we want to tell you, the red shirt is on. So we are doing baseball broadcasts again for Jackson High School.
Very cool.
Of course, in total media, there's all sorts of coverage, but here locally, I don't know how many years now, but we've done Jackson baseball 7-8 years now in a row, maybe more. And there was a game tonight. The Ironmen, who won their first game against Logan Elm last Friday, will be playing Uniota tonight. First pitch is scheduled for 4 p.m. It's going to be a little chilly, but I think they're going to get the game in. And, this year, we have even added some softball to our broadcast, or to our telecast. And we're not on the radio this year, but everything is being streamed.
Okay.
So, you can still hear it and you can see it. I think we have 2 cameras operating at these games now. So, they're really advancing. Eric Landrum, who's in charge of our sports video work, really doing a good job providing more coverage of our local high school teams. And
cool.
We're doing all the home baseball games and tournament, and we're doing selected softball games where we can get a crew to, and there's no conflict with baseball because we can't do 2 games at once.
Yep.
So that is another added thing. So stay tuned.
There you go. Pete Wilson, thank you for hanging out with us this morning.
That is all right. We'll be back with more tomorrow.
And that's no April Fool's either.
That is no April Fool, and I don't think she's listening, but she may watch the Facebook video or whatever. I want to say happy birthday to my older sister Roberta Linder up in Upper Arlington. I won't say how old she is, but she's older than me.
Oh, yeah, we won't do that.
No, we won't do that.
No. All right. Well, very good. Have a wonderful day, everyone. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow with some friends from Holzer, and it looks like the Jackson High School softball team who's kicking butt.
I think they're 6-0.
Yeah, I think they're doing really, really well.
And Izzy Swisher, 3 home runs, breaking a new record.
Unbelievable.
Right. And I think that was last Friday. So
crazy. So there you go. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.